Hello, BookTube. Last year, Bren Booth Jones, the booktuber, I'll leave a link to his channel down below. I'll leave a link to the offending videos. Last year, he made a couple of videos taunting me and tormenting me by doing a library tour of his own books. And this exacerbated a feeling of my own that I really need to do a comprehensive library tour of my own, not just to keep you entertained, but also to put my hands on every book I have in this new year and also count them. Which is exactly the sort of thing that I think about and then I dream about, and then the minute I start, I think, oh, there are probably 15 things I'd rather be doing right now, and I go and do them. But not this time. Not this time. We're going to do it. We're going in. We're going to conduct a Brenventory of all of my books, and we are now in the kitchen here at Hyde Cottage, where there are quite a few books. And we are going to start on this east wall with a bookcase that is mass market paperbacks, little paperbacks. Once upon a time, my book collection was 90% mass market paperbacks. It is not anymore. They're in one bookcase now, and we're going to go through this bookcase before we move on. There's all kinds of different things here, but we're going to do the mass markets before we move on. So let's get started and see how we do this. I have no idea how we're going to do this. All right, so we'll start with Judith and Gar Reeves-Stevens, a Star Trek book, Federation. A really great Star Trek book, not one of the best, I would say. It goes over all of Federation history, has all sorts of really clever stuff in it. The thing on the cover there, James T. Kirk and Captain Picard, it's a little bit of a tease. The new cover for this book is a little bit better because it doesn't have this naked tease on here. This doesn't actually happen in the book. It comes close, and of course it happens in the movie later, after this book came out. It happened in a Star Trek movie where Kirk and Picard actually do meet. But this is still terrific. Just an amazingly meaty Star Trek novel when they aren't all that way. All right, okay, this is Strangers from the Sky by Margaret Wander Bonanno. This is also a great Star Trek novel. This is one of the giant Star Trek novels. You've got a artwork on the inside there. All about humanity's first meeting with the Vulcans. A couple of different versions of humanity's first meeting with the Vulcans, which it's done at great length. It's done with great characters. There's great character work here, including a couple of invented characters. The invented characters in Star Trek novels are often their Achilles heel, and not in this case. And again, it came out as a book, and then the movies went and did it. The movies went and did something canonical by giving us the first meeting between Vulcans and Zefram Cochrane. Okay, another big Star Trek novel. This is Star Trek Enterprise. The Enterprise leaving for the first time, going out on its mission. This also has a fold-out cover with our young crew there. It's really good. One of its invented characters here is not maybe so good, but again, simply relegated to non-canonical fan fiction by the show. Star Trek was born on the big screen, on the little screen and the big screen. It was born on film, not in writing. So the stuff that happens on film is canon, and the stuff that happens in writing is not. Same thing with Star Wars. And we now know that there was an earlier Enterprise, a couple of them. So this was by no means the first adventure of the Enterprise or the first crew. We have a couple of different captains. But let's keep going here. Okay, more Star Trek. This is Triangle by Sandra Marshak and Myrna Culbreth. Is back in the very early numbers of these Star Trek novels. This is these two are personal favorites of mine, and this is a novel that asks a very simple question. You wouldn't ask it now. You wouldn't ask it since the advent of Star Trek as a multi-million-dollar franchise. But this grew out of the old dot matrix fan fictions that fans wrote in the wake of the original show, and those fan fictions had very staple kinds of questions. A little bit disturbingly, two of the most popular kinds of questions that were always being dealt with in those early fan fictions are, how would Kirk and how would Spock hold up to prolonged torture. I have no idea why. But another question that came up in those early fanzine stories was, what if Kirk and Spock fell in love with the same woman? And this novel actually does that, but it's much better than it sounds. Okay, another Star Trek novel. This is Vonda McIntyre. This is The Search for Spock, the novelization of The Search for Spock. There's a lot of stuff in here that is not in the movie. But I would have this anyway, because Star Trek 3 is my favorite Star Trek movie. I know it backwards and forwards. I know the English, I know the Klingon, I know it all. All right, let's move on. We have Robert McCammon. This is The Wolf's Hour, mass market paperback of a novel of his. He does horror. And I'm not the biggest fan of his horror fiction, but this is very different. This does star a werewolf, but it's a werewolf in World War II who is a kind of James Bond figure and who is in complete control of his lycanthropy. So the horror elements here very much take a back seat to adventure, and McCammon's really good at it. Actually, the adventure elements of They Thirst, which is a much more canonical horror novel, are also really good. Then we have a science fiction anthology, the best from fantasy and science fiction. This is the 22nd book, edited by Edward Furman, with that cover right there. No idea why I have this, but I won't be saying no idea why I have this very often in the course of this bookcase. Whereas when mass market paperbacks were 90% of what I own, I would have said that on almost every other book. Mass market paperbacks, once upon a time, were you would go to a used bookstore, you would have normal shelves for a used bookstore, and then there'd be stairs going down to the basement, and in the basement there'd be boxes and boxes and boxes of mass market paperbacks, and the proprietor of the store would tell you, just take $5 for $1. Just load up a box and bring them up. I don't care about them, so just load up a box. They'll be dirt cheap. Most of the time, they aren't anymore, but most of the time when I was used book shopping in the last 60 years, these things were dirt cheap, and so you end up accumulating a huge number of them that you don't know why you got, and that you don't really want. I would like to decrease that enormously. Even though this is only one bookcase, it could be fewer than this. But we got to go faster. This Brenventory is going to take forever. We have a mass market paperback of Graham Greene's Brighton Rock. I think I probably got this because I like the cover art. I have the ebook. The ebook is the only conceivable way that I would ever read Graham Greene, so I don't need to keep that. But that's the whole purpose of this Brenventory, is that I am going to count these books, assess them. One thing I learned the last library tour that I did was it really helps you to control your library. It really does. So we won't do that all at once. Then we have a Bantam classic of The House of the Seven Gables. And that is a very young Nathaniel Hawthorne. The House of the Seven Gables is my favorite Hawthorne. And I love those old Bantam classics. There's quite a few of them here. Then we have a paperback of Ben-Hur by Lew Wallace, with that great cover there. That I want to say that this cover artist is famous, but I know this old paperback probably won't tell me who did the cover. Right? We can't go looking for cover art for all of these things. There's no way you're going to tell me. No, there's no way you're going to tell me. But this was made famous by an opulent movie that is well worth your time to watch. If you've never actually watched Ben-Hur, it's well worth your time. Okay, then we have some of these green-sprined Penguin crime novels, these mass markets. I have never had bad luck with these except for one author, who I'm sure we'll come across on here. Usually when you get something like this, that was always a sign to me that this was a well-edited line. And this is Georges Simenon. So I have the second Simenon omnibus. I have Maigret and the Enigmatic Let, and I have Maigret Mystified. These things are tiny. They take no time at all to read. The Maigret novels, they're very, very good. They're much better than you would think, considering how small they are, and also considering the absolutely true, this is not author mythology, it's verified. People saw it, they saw him do it. The absolutely true speed with which Simenon wrote these things, or could write these. Some of them took longer than others, but it's almost the old Ray Bradbury story where he boards a train in Washington, and his destination is Boston, and during that train ride he writes a novel. It's almost like that. These are deceptively good, though. Deceptive in that you read them and you look at them and you think, well, Simenon wrote 1 million of these, and they're never any very long, so they must be simple, and they're not. That's the deceptive part. These things will go quite well. They will actually be used in one of my many angry, lonely, incel, solitary booktube events for one in 2026. I have a number of these events because I am an outcast, a leper, a pariah. So I have to come up with my own book events because nobody wants me in their book events because I smell. And one of mine is I'll mention these all in another video, but one of mine is Project 2026th Precinct, dovetailing off of Ollie at Criminali, who this year is going to read our way, publicly, through his beloved Ed McBain 87 Precinct novels. Now, I spent all last year reading about private eyes, private detectives, not amateurs, not Granny who bakes cupcakes and really thinks that the man in 5A died under mysterious circumstances, not amateurs, and not police, but private investigators who have to get a license, they have to have a license to carry a gun, they have a sometimes adversarial relationship with the police. I spent, inadvertently, but then I eventually did it all year, I spent all of 2025 reading about private eyes. But if Ollie loves the Ed McBain cop novels, and they've never really done anything for me, but I'm going to give them a try, and I figured while I'm doing that, I might as well devote my mystery reading in 2026 to law enforcement of some kind or another, game, sheriffs, whatnot. Doesn't matter. I'm going to do that, and Simenon is, of course, the quintessential police procedural. So those will do well for Project 2026 Precinct. Okay, speaking of private eyes, we have Fer de Lance, Nero Wolfe. This is the first Nero Wolfe story by Rex Stout, where we meet our main character and his man Friday. Let's see here. Okay, Farley Mowat, A Whale for the Killing, mass market paperback. That was made into a fairly effective, I think, TV movie, but the book is heartbreaking. Okay, Don Walheim and George Ernsberger. This is an Avon fantasy reader with that cover that I could not pass this up. This has big names in it, if I remember correctly. The Witch from Hell's Kitchen by Robert E. Howard, Black Thirst by C.L. Moore, A Victim of Higher Space by Algernon Blackwood, The Sapphire Siren by Nick Zindialis, which I'm guessing is a pen name. A Voice in the Night by William Hope Hodgson. Crawling Horror by Thorpe McCluskey. And The Kelpie by Manly Wade Wellman. So vintage stuff here. That you don't know where you'll find those stories. I guess I could find any fantasy anthology and I'd be likely to come across them. Oh my! All right, okay. Here's another block. These old Del Rey paperbacks of John Carter of Mars that are just so wonderful. It's just so wonderful. You have the artwork all the way around. I don't know if this is all of these that I have, but this was the last time these were ever done. Now this is For Good or Ill, and again I say ill. These are solely now in the province of Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated. So Del Rey, Bantam, whatever, no. There's a Princess of Mars. Look at that. These things are. I've seen better days because I tend to go back to them. I love them so much. I'm pretty sure that one is missing here, and it's going to be my favorite. Is that right? A Fighting Man of Mars. Look at that. All the there's just a mound of swords and armor and whatnot because these creatures have just destroyed them all. Swords of Mars. John Carter in the process of being kidnapped. He's kidnapped in this book when, of course, he wouldn't be. He wouldn't be. Like I said about these novels, Edgar Rice Burroughs often forgot that John Carter of Mars was superpowered and that kidnapping him would be almost impossible to do. Unless you gassed him, it'd be almost impossible to do. Look at that. And am I right? Yes, I am right. We, Thuvia, Maid of Mars, my favorite one, is not here. Probably because I grabbed it out of this pile to reread it in these old Del Rey mass markets and just never put it back where it belongs. The story of this entire collection. But yeah, I think it's a mistake. I think that Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated should give the book franchise to Del Rey or Titan Books, for Pete's sake. Look at the job they've done with Conan. There's no reason at all for you if you want to buy Tarzan and the Golden Lion, if you want to buy it now, not on the used market, but just go and buy it, you have to buy it through Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated for a hardcover collectible special edition that's not cheap at all. Well, anyway, we have Edith Hamilton's classic mythology. She retells the myths of Greece and Rome. We have a Regency novel, Three Lords for Lady Anne. They are meeting at a library. We have Saikaku Ihara, Comrade Loves of the Samurai. This is the E. Powys Mathers translation from eons ago. This is one half of a famous book that Saikaku Ihara wrote about boy love. He wrote a book called On the Sublime Joys of Pederasty. He was a big fan of boy love. And he wrote a collection that was really, really popular. And this is one half of that. This is samurai warriors falling in love with their pages and their young boy assistants. The other half of the book was a little bit harder to do in Edwardian propriety, because it was about boy actors, who were also catamites. That's a little bit sketchier, even in his own day it was. I don't think anybody could publish that today. I can't imagine. It's unfortunate. Saikaku Ihara is really good. He's a really good writer, but two-thirds of what he wrote, I don't think you could find a publisher in our censorship-happy era. I don't think you could. Okay, then we have Knight and Knave of Swords by Fritz Leiber. This is a Farford and Grey Mouser novel. It has brimming with praise for the whole series of Farford and Grey Mouser, but this is a later one. This was years and years and years after the initial stories that were collected into volumes that all start with swords and wizardry, swords against death, that sort of thing. This is much, much later, and is this Darrell K. Sweet? Yeah, this is a Darrell K. Sweet cover. No idea what he was thinking. But I know, I doubt that I'm alone in Farford and Grey Mouser fans. I doubt that I'm alone in looking at this cover and thinking, well, I don't know who those two are. There's just no way. It's just no way. But interesting. Anyway, an interesting illustration. Then we have Lucia St. Cloud Robeson. This is her book, Tokaido Road, in mass market paperback. And we have a step back there of these two young lovers who've taken time out of their road trip. We have Marco Page. Again, I'm assuming a pen name. This is Fast Company, set in the antique book world. Do we have another batch? Yes, we do. We have another batch here. These are Earl Stanley Gardner. There's a bunch of them here. Good. These are his DA books. These are not all the ones that I have. I have hardcovers of some of these. Anything that's right within reach so that I'm not adding to the mess? No, I guess not. He had a series of books. He's, of course, famous for Perry Mason. But he had a series of books about a crusading young DA who wins his election as DA and then starts to clean up the town. This is the DA Cooks a Goose. The DA Holds a Candle. This is the DA Goes to Trial. All in these old pocket books that really hold up. Unlike any other mass markets that I'm looking at here, they really hold up. And the DA Draws a Circle. The first one of these is the DA Calls It Murder. And I like them a lot. I think they're really spirited. Then we have Gavin Black, A Wind of Death. This is a suspense thriller. There's a murder mystery in it, but I mainly got it because I love that cover artist. We have Kenneth Giles, Murder Blue Perfect. Murder in a Little English Village. Down Murder in a Little English Village. We have SPQR by John Maddox Roberts. This is the first book in a series of adventures of a young Roman nobleman who has a penchant for snooping, as he says in this first book. And that is my biggest complaint. That's the biggest weakness of these books. They are wonderful at evoking the Rome of Julius Caesar and changing to, all those times, the Catiline conspiracy and all that. They're wonderful at evoking that. Just wonderful. And the mysteries are pretty good. The only element of this that I complain about is that I've got a yen for snooping. It's not a good motivation. It's not good enough for me. It might be good for bringing these subjects up over wine and biscuits when you're talking with your friends, but Decius Metellus here, he undergoes serious danger, and that seems to be his motivation all the way through the series. As he climbs the ladder, he gets to become a man of some importance. Still, the only reason we're told he does any of this is because he has an yen for snooping. Then we have something hit by Hilary Waugh, The Late Mrs. D. I confess the title there was mostly wishful thinking. The Oxford World Classics of the Bostonians by Henry James. One of my favorite Henry James novels, and I think one of the tightest and most effective. So good to have the Oxfords are really good for notes and whatnot. We have Pictures of Perfection by Reginald Hill, a D.L. and Pascoe mystery, quite enjoyable. We have more of these Penguin crime novels. These are both Marjorie Allingham. There's Hide My Eyes, and what I think is probably her best book, Coroner's Pigeon. These are the same thing as the green spines that we saw, and they are wonderful. They never let you down. Well, Marjorie Allingham doesn't let you down anyway. She's just incredible. We have a mass market paperback of Edmund Wilson's The Twenties, collection of whatever periodical deadline prose he did in the time that he thought was worth preserving. There's 3 or 4 or 5 times as much of it as is in this book, but this is what he considered the highlights. He's actually really good about estimating what his own best work was, so this is quite enjoyable to read. How are we doing for time? Let's just keep going. We have another of these Greenspine Penguin crime library. This is Robert Player, Let's Talk of Graves, of Worms, and Epitaphs. I am available 24 hours a day for my services in providing good book titles at any time. I'm not available for him anymore because he's not available. Then we have an Oxford World Classic. This is an anthology of theirs, The Anglo-Saxon World. This is terrific. As anthologies go, this is just amazingly learned. Just a wonderful volume. And also the Oxford World Classic of Bede, the Venerable Bede, the Ecclesiastical History of the English Peoples. Which you would think, when you hear that title, you would think, oh God, that sounds incredibly boring. It's going to be one bishop after another. And it is one bishop after another, but it is not boring. It is not boring at all. It's a million glimpses inside the world of Bede's, his time, and the immediate grasp of him reaching back in time, the documents that he was very careful about. It doesn't matter that he wasn't a trained historian. There were no trained historians in his day. It's just a wonderful book. You wouldn't think it, but it is. Okay, then we have another batch here. This is a batch of mass market history. Never see mass market history anymore. This is Christopher Morris's book on the Tudors. Heavily underlined by yours truly all throughout here. Just heavily underlined. Then J.P. Kenyon's book on Stuart England. Not so much Morris, but Kenyon was a widely recognized expert. And you had a series like this where we're going to bring out a series of history of England at different time periods. Who we're going to get to write each book. Amazingly good stuff. We have The Beginning of English Society by Dorothy Whitelock. I should actually set that aside because I'm going to need that in just a minute. And I.A. Richmond's book, Rome and Britain. So some nonfiction there for mass markets. We have the Bantam Classic of Persuasion by Jane Austen. Not sure that I would ever read it in that form. I doubt that I ever would, but I love these old Bantam classics. Here's one for Walden and Other Writings by Henry David Thoreau. I never see these anymore. That's why I grabbed them all when I did, because they're going to go. They're not made anymore, and there weren't an infinite supply of them. We have another cozy British murder mystery. This was a whole little series that this publisher did. This is Elizabeth Marchand, Suddenly While Gardening. A tiny little thing, probably. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I need a hardcover of this thing. I got this for the cover, but I really need a hardcover of this thing. Even a hardcover is boring. It's just words on a dust jacket. This is a great book, though. This is Dean Acheson. I would have been horrible, swallowing crow feeling to call this a great book to his face, or when he was alive and could maybe learn that I'd said it. But I have no compunction about saying it now that he's dead. This is his book, Present at the Creation, about the State Department. And the State Department when it was real, when it was not foolish, just a bumbling criminal enterprise. And he is a marvelous prose stylist, just marvelous. We have the old Signet classic of Idylls of the King by Lord Tennyson, with this blocky cover of theirs that they did. This is just Arthurian stuff. It's great. I don't know that I would read it in this mass market. We have Shakespeare. The Signet classic Shakespeare are all great. These, I wish I had the whole of them. Sooner or later, somebody will die, and the whole collection of these will come to my bookshop, and I will grab them all, because these are great. These white-spined Signet Shakespeare are great. You get an introduction, a general introduction to Shakespeare in his time, then a pointed introduction to whatever the particular book is. It's play-by-play, but also the narrative poems and whatnot, and the sonnets. And then you get criticism in the back. These are like mini Norton Critical editions. They're amazingly good. We have The Three Musketeers in a Bantam classic. Again, I would probably not go back to this except for comparison's sake, because we have the Ellsworth, and the Ellsworth translation is better. We have two poetry volumes in these old, who are these Signet, right? Yes, these old Signet. They did a series of really sturdy mass market paperbacks of selected poetry of. And I have two here, one for George Herbert and one for Andrew Marvell. I've had all of these at one point or another. I don't know anymore, but I'm pretty sure there are more of them here. And then two more books. We have two mass market paperbacks of Dune, Heretics of Dune and Chapter House Dune, the last two books that in the Dune cycle. That again, I will almost certainly get these in this series of really sturdy, really beautiful illustrated hardcovers of these, of the Frank Herbert Dune books that are coming out. One of you sent me the first three, but I'm sure that the others will come out, and I'll probably get them that way. And I have them as ebooks, so I can't imagine going back and rereading these mass market paperbacks. How are we doing for? Okay, well that's good enough, right? That's good enough. Yeah, we can stop here. So I don't know how many books that was, but I'm going to count. When I'm done with this bookcase, the whole of it, then I'm going to count everything, and then I'm going to move on to the next bookcase. So if you think that this is incredibly tedious, you've got Bren to blame for it. So I'm going to wrap this up, and we will continue next time. Thank you, BookTube.